If you're spending money on marketing and you're consistently generating leads, but you feel like your volume should be much better, then this video is for you. Because if the leads are good, but you feel like there just isn't enough of them, that's pretty frustrating. If you find yourself saying, if we had to double the amount of queries we get, we'd essentially double revenue, and it's that simple. My sales team is sitting around between calls and that's lost money. We know how to close, we just literally need more opportunities. Some weeks are strong, some weeks are dead. I need more consistency, and it feels like we are just guessing and hoping that the next lead isn't a total waste of time. So if you have found yourself saying any of these things, then this video is for you, because my promise to you is that by the end of this video, you'll have 6 levers to pull in your business that'll automatically increase your lead volume instantly. So when lead volume is fixed, obviously your sales team is then fully booked with qualified calls, and your pipeline stays full 30 to 60 days ahead of time, which is a pleasure. Revenue becomes a lot more predictable, not hopeful. You can scale confidently instead of cautiously, and you stop worrying about slow months. You grow because you choose to, not because you get lucky. So now before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This is assuming that your lead quality is already good. So if your lead quality isn't good right now, I would suggest watching the video that I made on how to improve your lead quality. Watch this video and then you can come back to this video if your lead quality isn't good. But if your lead quality is good, let's dive straight in. So the first tip is to increase ad spend. But now please, before you scream abuse at me because of how obvious this is, I just want to explain something to you and explain it from a different perspective. Let me explain why it's not as obvious as most people think, and this is a mistake I've also made in my own business. What I've found after working with over 135 business owners and marketing managers is that there's always 2 blocking factors that stop business owners from spending more money on ads. So the first blocking factor is that when you increase your ad spend, your acquisition costs rise. So what you have noticed is that if you double your budget or even increase it by about 50%, everything goes up. So your cost per click dramatically increases, your cost per lead dramatically increases, your cost per acquisition increases, your return on investment decreases, and you panic and then you drop the spend back down and you find yourself in this constant cycle. You may not want to hear this, but believe it or not, all of these things are completely normal. The reason why this happens is because when you are marketing on a platform, let's just say it's Facebook, for example, the platform will always go for the warmest buyers first. So what it essentially tends to do is it starts to remarket to people who have engaged with your page or visited your website if you dropped a pixel there, or maybe sent you a message. So the platforms always start with your warm audience first, and that's why when you spend small amounts of money, your results are always the best. And that's why you always see agencies talking about, we spent $500 and we got a 10x return. But the truth is, there's not really anything that amazing about that, because you didn't spend a lot of money and the platforms automatically hit warm people. Then when you start to increase your budget, you start to go further up the funnel and the platforms start to cast a wider net, and you start to show your ads to colder and colder audiences. And then what starts to happen is diminishing returns naturally sets in. So this doesn't mean something's wrong or the platforms are broken or you're not doing a good enough job on your ads. It just means that you're going wider and wider, and it's normal for that to happen because not everybody is looking for your solution at any given point in time. So now that you understand that it's natural for costs to increase as you increase your ad spend, I don't want that to stop you, because I want you to at least increase your ad spend by another 10%, because this brings me to my second point. A business makes more money off a customer than they think. So to tell you a story, this actually applies to me, and this is a mistake that I've made recently. So last year I went to a 3-day mastermind exclusively for agency owners. So these were agency owners that flew in from all over the world, and we just come together for the 3 days. We talk about what's working, what's not working, and it's hosted by a guy called Jordan Platten, who basically specializes in growing agency, and he has this big agency community. What essentially happened was that on the second day, they do something called burning questions, and what happens is everybody goes around the room and they get to ask one question, all their burning questions, for other people to answer, so that if you're dealing with a problem, maybe somebody else has the solution and vice versa. So then when I got the chance and I was able to ask my question, I asked everybody, how does everybody here get their clients? Because I feel like I can't spend more money on my current channels. He paused and then he asked me, well, how do you get your clients now? So I said, well, about 80% of my clients come from YouTube ads. And he goes, interesting. So how much does it cost you on YouTube to get one customer? And I said, about $750. He goes, okay, interesting. And then how long does the average customer stay with you and how much do they pay you? So I said, well, over a customer's lifetime, they probably pay me about $10,000. Clients stay for quite a long time. And he paused and he goes, well, do you hate money? And everybody just sort of laughed and I felt super embarrassed. But he had a point. If it costs me $750 to acquire a customer and I make $10,000 of a customer, why on earth am I not spending more money on YouTube ads? And it was kind of this mental block that I had, I just felt like I was spending too much on YouTube ads because I kept seeing my own ad, other people saw my ad, and I just kind of felt like I had this mental block as to why I can't spend more. And the truth is, all I had to do is just spend a lot more money. So when he said to me, do you hate money? The message became quite clear to me what I need to do, and it's literally just spend more money in YouTube ads. To bring this back to you now, the important value and metric to know here is your customer lifetime value. So I want you to work out your customer lifetime value over the last 3 years. So this is the unique customers that you've had over the last 3 years, not total customers, unique customers divided by your total revenue. This will give you an amount. So in my case, it was $10,000. Then I want you to add up all of your acquisition costs. So these are the money that you pay to advertising platforms, to agencies, if you have a marketing manager, a salesperson, everything that's involved in the process of acquiring customers. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your total lifetime value and divide that by acquisition cost, and this will give you a ratio. It's obviously very different in every business, and if you want to know the exact way to work it out, I've actually made a video now on how to calculate your marketing ROI. But in saying that, as a quick rule of thumb, the sweet spot is about an LTV to CAC ratio of 3. So if your LTV to CAC ratio is higher than 3, it's 4, it's 5, it could indicate that you're underspending like I was. I was spending $750 to get a customer, but my lifetime value was $10,000. That doesn't make sense. So subsequently what I've done is I've increased my spend, and I've actually have gotten more leads and sales from that. So if it's about 3, then you can keep spending the same and see what you can do to decrease acquisition cost. And if your return LTV to CAC ratio is 2 or it's 1, you are spending too much money in marketing, or something's not working and you need to drop the spend back down. So that's a good way to work out your LTV to CAC ratio. And the most important thing is that what this will reveal is either most of the time I find that people are underspending in ads, not overspending. It's usually marketing agencies and people who really are in marketing that tend to overspend. But if you're a business, you probably always feel like you're overspending in marketing. But when you look at the LTV to CAC ratio, that's probably not the case. So once you know this number, it's very possible that you might be underspending in ads, and this is your sign to spend more money. So if you spend more money in marketing, obviously you're going to increase your lead volume, assuming that your lead quality is fine. So that's the first sort of tip to give you. Tip number 2 is to refresh creatives. So building off of my last point, where naturally your ad targets people with intent first and a warm audience, a great way to improve lead volume without having to increase your ad spend is to consistently test new creatives. Because if you lock your ad spend in and your ads are just being shown to the same warm audience and it's the same creatives, that can make your lead volume not be as consistent as you want it to be. So what you always want to be doing is testing new creatives. And when you do test new creatives, what you don't want to do is start from a blank canvas with completely new creatives. When you do that, it's obviously quite risky and you can almost hurt your results a little bit more. The best thing to do is just to look at previous data on what your top 5 creatives were. So rank them on the following: sales revenue, your sales, your lead volume, and then your lead price. So I don't recommend optimizing off of lead price. I suggest working out off of which creative got a lead and then that lead turned into a sale. So the North Star is a creative that got you the most revenue, then it's the individual amount of sales, then it's lead volume, and it's lead price. Assuming that you have the mechanism in place to see which leads become sales. If you have a creative that got you a sale, what I want you to do is to take that creative, whether it be an image creative or a video creative, and make iterations of it following a kaleidoscope method. So a kaleidoscope method is just a fancy way of saying, you know, those kaleidoscopes when you look through it and you twist it and then the colors change, gives you like a different experience. This is kind of the same concept here. It's still the same concept and still the same message, but you're tweaking things slightly. So what you do is you take the winners and you make small iterations in either the copy or the creative. So if you want to change your copy, the only thing that you must change is just the headline, as 80% of the focus is on the headline. If it's an image creative, change the filter. So maybe make it an animation, or change the filter to grayscale, or just do something to make the image just different and the style change slightly. If it's a video creative, the quickest win to do is just to change the hook. So the hook is the first 5 to 10 seconds of the actual ad itself. So doing this, it will make the creative be still new enough, it'll get your audience's attention, but still has the meat, the original meat that made it a winner in the first place. And this is a great way to improve your lead volume. So in order, test new headlines, test new hooks, and then you can also test new call to actions. That's also a great way to spruce up your creatives. Fresh creatives usually improve your click-through rate, rewarded with a lower CPM. So CPM is just the cost to reach 1,000 people. Because it's new creatives and your audience is focusing on it, gives your audience a better experience, and that drops your price to market to people. And because of that, you get a lower cost per lead. And usually when you get a lower cost per lead, you get more volume. And that's obviously the point of tip number 2, is to get more volume. So refresh your creatives. Tip number 3, a very, very powerful one, is to improve your offer. So after running online ads for more than 8 years, the single best way to improve lead volume is simply just to increase your conversion rate. The best way we found to increase your conversion rate is to simply just improve your offer. And the best way to improve your offer is to follow the Alex Hormozi Value Equation. I won't go too much into this, but the whole concept here is when you make the offer, you want to increase the dream outcome, increase the perceived likelihood of achievement. So this is testimonials, credibility, things like that. You want to decrease the time delay from when you solve somebody's problem, and you want to decrease their effort and sacrifice. When you do this, the offer becomes more valuable, and this increases the likelihood of them obviously closing into a lead. So what we have seen, we have split tested this quite a lot. If you don't want to change your offer too much, but let's just say you do change your offer, you can improve the landing page conversion rate by up to 100%. So that's 100% more leads, which is essentially double. That's a win. Or you can improve your guarantee. So you keep the offer the same, but you just then play with your guarantee. We've seen that go up as high as 90% in terms of uplift percentages on a landing page. Or you just change your offer wording. So sometimes the offer can seem confusing and a bit bloated. A good way is just to rewrite the offer in below grade 5 reading level, and you can put that through Claude or ChatGPT. And just changing the offer of the wording and the outcome that you're promising, that can have a 50% increase in landing page conversion if you feel like your offer is proven and you don't want to change it too much. So those are some ideas there. Tip number 4, personally, this is my favorite one because it doesn't cost anything and it's literally the quickest win to do, and that's to centralize your lead capture process. So one thing we have noticed a lot with our clients when we start working with them is that nobody has ever really thought out their customer journey and their lead capture process, and it's never really centralized, and they leak a lot of leads on their website because of this. So let's say you have a website, you might have one button that sends you to a lead capture form, and then when somebody fills in that info, it goes into the CRM, perfect. But then there's a contact us form that when you fill that in, that inquiry gets sent to somebody's email, and that email is not manned. That's a problem. Then you have lead capture number 2, that gets sent into the back end of their website, and it's not manned, nobody's checking it. And then you have lead capture number 3, that takes you up to a page that says contact us on WhatsApp, and that's manned 50-50. So now you have 4 different places, all varying in if they're manned or not manned, and this just creates a lot of leakage and you lose a lot of leads by doing this. Or what can also happen is that you have the same form, but for whatever reason, the lead is sent to different places when they do a lead capture. So on some forms it goes to CRM, some forms it goes to email, some forms it goes to the website, which is a big problem. What we suggest is map out your entire website, and this is something that we do for clients, and whenever we do this, we spot mistakes. All of your CTAs across your entire website and your emails and everything should go to one central lead capture page, one page, and then from there that gets captured and put into your CRM. So when you do this method, you'll see that you have a lot of leakage across your website, and aligning everything, you can get a 50 to 100% bump in the amount of leads that you get just by fixing this. So that's a quick win there. And this brings us to tip number 5, to split test your funnel. So you cannot improve what you don't measure, and if you do measure it, you cannot improve it if you don't split test it. So assuming you have a controlled sales funnel in place, and if you don't, I would suggest that you make your customer journey as linear as possible. When you do that, you'll have the 3 main metrics that's usually in a funnel: your ad click-through rate, your landing page conversion rate, and then your sales conversion rate. So looking at this, I want you to look at the last 90 days and form a baseline and see what is my average click-through rate. If it's under 1%, then this is the quickest win that you can get, and split test this first. So there's a couple reasons why your click-through rate can be low. Can be your targeting, can be your messaging, can be your creatives, and obviously we spoke about testing your creatives later. So if you just focus on your click-through rate and get more people to click on your ad, obviously that'll have a huge knock-on effect for the rest of the funnel, because that's where the funnel's the highest, is at the top. Let's say you don't want to touch your click-through rate's above 1% and you're happy with it. The next thing to test is your landing page conversion rate. So if it's under 3%, we suggest to split test this next. The things that you can split test on a landing page is your headline, that's a big one, and your offer, which you obviously spoken about on a previous slide. But then if you feel like your landing page conversion rate is perfect, the next thing for you to test then is your sales conversion rate. If that's under 3%, that you really need to test to see what's going on there. So to improve that, obviously aligning all of your lead capture points on your website, increasing your speed to lead, increasing the amount of touch points you make in your sales process, improve the offer that you're making on the sales call and split test that. There's a range of different things you can split test, and that's what I would suggest doing next to improve your lead volume, is to split test 3 different parts of your funnel. This brings us to tip number 6, and it's actually to test a new traffic source. So when it comes to scaling your lead generation, the formula we always follow with our clients is more, better, new. So what can tend to happen, this was probably in my case, back to the story I told you earlier, I had a traffic source that was working, and for whatever reason, I just had this mental block that I can't spend more. And then what I started doing is I started testing Facebook ads and Google ads and LinkedIn ads and TikTok ads, and I was trying to do new when I can actually just do more of it and actually do it better with more creatives. So I want the same thing for you. Make sure you do more first, then better. Once you've maxed it out, then look at something new. And this is tip number 6. So something that business jump on too quickly is they go straight to new. Obviously, I just said I found myself making the same mistake. But let's say you have increased your ad spend, you split tested everything humanly possible, then obviously we would recommend you try a new channel. So you've maxed out Meta. Let's say Meta is getting you all of the leads and sales that you physically can. So here in South Africa, I know that you can normally max out a single platform at about 50K. In the UK, it can be higher. In the US, it can be even higher. But let's say you've maxed out Meta. In South Africa, it's about $5,000. Then try Instagram at $1,000 or 10,000 Rand and start maxing that out. Then let's say you've maxed out Google, move over to YouTube YouTube ads and vice versa. So in my case, continuing to max out YouTube ads, we're not there yet, and then we're going to move over to Google and start split testing that. And that's a good rule of thumb. But there you have it. So those are 6 simple steps to generate more lead volume. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it valuable. If you did, please click below to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It motivates me to make more videos like this. I'm very, very early on the journey on this channel, and I want to start creating more content. So if you subscribe and like, or give me comments on how I can improve the process, I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.